Take me, take all of me, 'cause I can't wait to see tomorrow where we gonna be. Can't let go, I can't let go, I can't let go, yeah. So for me, your love therapy, yeah, yeah, oh. 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 Oh, take me here, yeah. Take all of me, baby, 'cause I can't wait to see tomorrow where we gonna be. I can't let go, can't let go, can't let go, yeah. So for me, your love therapy, yeah, yeah, oh. 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 Happy Wednesday, everyone. Happy Wednesday, everyone. That was an amazing song that I love. I love to bits. But it's a song by Ty Jones and an artist and a producer who's so amazing, Chronicle Deep. And the title of the song is Love Therapy, and this is the acoustic version. So there's another version of it which is quite amazing too. So I thought I'd open it that tonight on Music Night, as we have some international guests today on this Wednesday evening, and so proud of that. It's so humbling to have actually people from all over the world being with us on Music Night, and we're here to celebrate music and arts, and we're gonna be here for the next 2 hours. Yes, next 2 hours or so. So happy Wednesday from my side. Good evening if it's the evening. Good morning perhaps if it's the morning from your side. But hello to everyone, and thanks for joining us. And today, yes, our guests, some beautiful people that I met over the weekend. Yes, I met them over the weekend, and actually got a chance to be in their space and have such a beautiful space. And we all here for music, and it was so musical. I thought we just need to have a conversation with them, and just to hear furthermore about this beautiful thing that they're doing on Twitter. So our guest is, of course, Piano Avengers. Piano Avengers, beautiful people that do spaces just like us, and play music in spaces just like us. So we're just gonna have a talk with them, and alongside we also have John. Okay, I would have, yes, John. I would have said your name, but I don't wanna butcher it. I have this bad thing of butchering people's name, but I'll try. I'll try and I'll get it right, and I'll say your name properly. So apologies for now. But before I carry on, we have here the co-host, the other host of Music Nights, Lloyd, who also hosts the Deep House Space, which happens on Fridays. And we actually do have upcoming Friday Space, which is gonna be fire. But before I greet our guests and before I give the mic, let's give the mic to Lloyd. Lloyd, my brother, how are you doing this evening?
Yo, Vox man, how's it?
Oh, good, brother. Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about this one. I have a bit much love for classical music. I think you know. Uh, I actually studied it in high school. I was doing music theory and I was playing a violin. But after high school, I didn't pursue any career in this thing. But it's been my love. It's been my day one love. Um, This is the genre that actually taught me music, man. The love of jazz comes from classical music. The love of deep house comes from this classic music. So I'm very excited to be here tonight with our guests, Piano Avengers and Yoon Seok John. Yes, za sure.
Shout out, brother. Shout out. That's this man that I kept in the spaces with, and we do so many of them. We also do everything house music, which is also in the week, during the week, in the evenings. But we're not having it this weekend. We thought let house music just take a break a bit. We'll see it on Friday. So without further ado, I will start with I think Anna, you are behind Piano Avengers, if I'm not mistaken. So Anna, good evening. Good evening. How are you? And please unmute.
I did unmute. Thank you very much, Voxman, and hi, Lloyd. And hello, everybody from Live Piano Avengers. As Voxman said, my name is Anna. My personal profile is somewhere in the space. Thank you for having us. Getting to know each other was a very humbling and organic experience. I'm a regular listener in your spaces because they come in a very comfortable morning time for me. And I have to say, I appreciate your jazz vibes and your request space, you introduced me to some wonderful music because a lot of the artists I didn't know. And I love how you curate your spaces by pinning the link. So I actually screenshot and later go on YouTube or on Spotify, listen again. Some pieces of music that I liked in that space. And I'm always accompanied by a cup of coffee and a beautiful morning here in Germany. So I was really, really looking forward to interacting with you and interacting with people who are curating music spaces here on Twitter Spaces, because that's very pure and organic and it's very altruistic, isn't it? Because all of us creators of music, well, it's a gamble when you curate these spaces because you are just gifting and gifting and gifting, and it's not a lot of talkative space. It's more playing space and things like that. So it was really, really good to meet you and to meet like-minded people. I'm very honored and humbled to be here, and thank you for your kind invitation.
And it's an absolute pleasure. You just said it perfectly, and we are. I think we all have something in common, which is music, and this music thing just does some miracles to us. So we love it so much that we spend so much time on it, and we spend it on Twitter Spaces. So look at us. So thanks again for accepting our invite, and thanks for joining us. Let me give the mic to John. John, please unmute and welcome to the space.
Hello, Vox, and hello, Lloyd. Thank you so much for having me here. It's such a privilege, and greetings from London. And yes, Lloyd, you've actually spoken my name very well. My name is Yoon Seok, in Korean name, but people call me Yoon as just a shortened word. But you can also call me John. That's my kind of like Christian name. So whatever you're comfortable, then feel free to just call me either John or Yoon. that will be absolutely fine. But as I say, I was just so humbled and privileged to be here with you all. I've actually managed to got to know you through actually Anna, who introduced me to you of your space, and I've actually been to your space a couple of times too, listening some wonderful jazz. Even though I'm a classical pianist, I've always been interested in jazz, and something that I still have to learn with. And obviously, you know, the jazz with a great history. There's so many things that it's even though it's a different genre, I would say we still have the same in common as a classical music, because we still share the same instruments. Jazz piano, something that I always been, you know, love with listening to. So I'm really looking forward to this space. And as I say, I'm very quite new, you know, as a team of live piano Avengers, and it's been an absolute like gorgeous time and very positive so far of the space. And I'm really looking forward to it a bit more, enjoying it. So yeah, and as you said, rightly said, that we come here for music. So thank you very much for having me once again.
It just feels good. It just feels good to have you here too. So welcome. We are glad and we are honored to have such amazing artists, to say such amazing people, and tonight. So tonight we're gonna have a chat. We're gonna chat, especially regarding what is piano adventures and how it started about and how it's actually transforming in this world that we are right now, which is quite a ridiculous time for artists, to say the least. But we're gonna just share knowledge throughout the space, and I believe John is gonna play some music for us. Quite excited about that, and I think I don't know if it's Anna. Are you gonna cue John to play music, or should I? Let me just ask that first.
It's absolutely fine. I think you can do it. It's your space, and you know, you are the creator and curator of the space. Whatever you feel comfortable.
Thank you so much. So, without further ado, without going too far, I think I just want to raise the question, and just so perhaps everyone else who's in the space, perhaps who's here in our shores on this side of the world in South Africa, just to share before we go further. I am in Cape Town. Lloyd is in Joburg, and we're in South Africa. Yes, so we're in South Africa, and we host spaces from this wonderful land that we we were fortunately born in, and in most part of it, there's music that stood out for us. So your likes of jazz, your likes of house music, your likes of deep house actually stood out when spaces started, and we saw the platforms where we could share this wonderful thing of this music genre that we love. And we started off, yes, with deep house music on a Friday, and then we did it also during the week, which is everything house music. And then further on, we also opened more spaces, which is now music nights, where we just interact with different kinds of musicians in all different kinds of genres. So for us to learn further and to teach one another about music, and just to know a little bit more better about all of us, as people in the craft of music. So that is us. That is us in a short nutshell. Before just going way too far. So thanks again for joining us from wherever you are. Thank you. So my first question, just to level the space and just give it some warmth. I'll start with Anna. So Anna, please share with us, what is Piano Avengers? Because the first thing that came to mind when I saw the the cover, the poster is, oh, piano. So we have a genre in South Africa which is amapiano. So people would think differently, totally differently. So yeah, I thought to myself twice. Okay, let me read further. But please share with us, what is Piano Avengers, and how did it start about? Thank you.
Well, a short answer to your question would be we are musicians from five continents under one profile and one musical family. The long question would be, it was evolving project. It started by Yoon Seok on an app called Clubhouse. He opened up a club with Pianist only. I believe that was February or March 2021. And I joined in June 2021 and kind of took over and evolved the club, including the string players and now wood with instruments as well. My idea was for musicians, no matter gender or race, to interact with each other, to get to know each other, and to communicate through music and just be friends. That was the main idea of Live Piano Avengers, and still is. So Live Piano Avengers are, besides Yoon Seok, we have who is Korean in United Kingdom. We have Sherry, who is Taiwanese in New Zealand. We have Lobos, who is Chinese in China. We have Frida, who is Brazilian in Brazil but speaks awesome French. We have Suti, who is Gucheng player, and she's from Taiwan. We have Vesna, who is a harp player. She's a Croatian living in United States of America. We have also a jazz player, Mike, occasional, who lives in Netherlands. And I actually have upcoming artists joining Live Piano Avengers, I believe, in the next couple of weeks. One is gentleman, classically trained musician from Philippines, and he lives in Shanghai. And other is Chinese pianist, also classically trained, who lives in Netherlands but plays jazz fusion. So it's an evolving project. I don't have a specific answer what are Live Piano Avengers. They are just musical family of all color, of all race, gender, age groups, and we just create music spaces and try to gift community with music, because I'm a strong believer that coming from a musical family, I'm a Croatian living in Germany, that in 50 years, a lot of the spaces, a lot of the music concerts and music in general will be online. It's a fact. It's something that I'm scared of, but it's something that will definitely happen with Web3 and metaverse that I'm not very much knowledgeable about, but also because of the circumstances in today's world. Pandemic taught us a lesson, a big one, and music was suffering, artists were suffering, and people were suffering, you know. So in 50 years, I strongly believe that 60-70% everything will be online. And while I'm not going to say we are pioneering, we are not. There are many people performing online, but inspired by other platforms like Sessions, for example, online stages where they curate musicians, where, for example, even John Legend had an Instagram concert. That's a kind of idea I took and started evolving that, but I'm very much into, I love people and I like people to communicate with each other, and I would like them to get to know each other. There's nothing more beautiful than a violinist from Brazil, Frida, playing with pianist from Korea in United Kingdom. They never saw each other physically, but they know each other in soul and artistry. So that's the main goal of Live Piano Ventures.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And I think in most part of it, when there's more unity, when there's more than one, we grow stronger, and we become something better. And I think that's also one thing that we have noticed here in South Africa, that perhaps the pandemic, the lockdowns made you realize that collaborations are needed. Collaborations are important. And to work in those fractions where we'll make one beautiful thing and it soars. And yes, we have Twitter Spaces, which is doing that for us immensely. So thanks for sharing that, Anna. Thanks for sharing that a lot. Let me just move on to, let's give the mic to John. And seeing that John was, I mean, the spearhead of all of this beautiful thing. John, from my side, the first question, and I think after this, perhaps we can give you a chance to start us off, perhaps with our first jam. Okay, our second jam, seeing that I already played the first song. But I think after that, if you would be kind and just give us our first jam for the evening. But the question is, John, when you started this beautiful thing of having music on Twitter Spaces, did you see the longevity of it? Did you see the successes of it already? I mean, what was your vision when you started it? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. To be honest with you, actually, when I started off founding the Live Piano Avengers, it was just completely non kind of, I would say, marketed, fun kind of group. It was just very informal. I wasn't planning to do anything kind of like big. When I was, applied for in the clubhouse, it was just basically I just wanted to play because of that time. There were so many pianists or musicians, have run out from the live piano music, and because of COVID, the lockdown was happening big time, and I think a lot of people used the app to kind of keep communicating, because it became so antisocial in terms of culturally, but in every way, in fact. So I just basically started off, as I say, just to make sure. I didn't expect, obviously, the COVID going to last this long. So a few months, I thought, okay, just have some fun, just enjoy music, enjoy the piano music as much as I can. But as the community grows, and I met some fantastic people, and I always categorize as season 1 and 2. But season 1 was a bit more like, in a way, for me, it was very disorganized because myself, I was quite busy, like becoming busy and everything, and I felt that I wasn't actually very great, even though I founded this kind of community. I just never kind of clicked myself, didn't really organize anything properly. Instead, just I had like a couple of rooms myself, just playing, and other people playing, and so there was not really a foundation actually at all. But then in season 2, I've met this whole bunch of amazing people, and like the musicians that Anna mentioned, from 5 continents, from Brazil, China, Korea, like etc. But then, Anna actually really made a foundation and basically rebuilt the whole club into kind of one professional community. It's an absolute gem at the moment, and I've actually just, as I say, I'm just so enjoying and learning it, the process of it, because I still have a lot of things that miss, guidance for myself. It's not very nice sometimes. As a musician yourself, it's quite high maintenance yourself, and sometimes it's really difficult. Like I think that I always did quite well with music, but then other stuff I'm not quite good. So you learn something from other people. So I'm actually, learning a lot with other people's and the views. And at the moment, like it's just so like great because every time, for example, I open up the space, and I always like help back channeling, with the back behind scenes, making sure that everything is all under control, all the space is safe and professionally done. So it's just becoming better and better. And as Matt mentioned, that there will be more Avengers people, musicians coming in from all over the world again, and we just have to see how it goes. Obviously, we don't want to like do it too like in a serious way, but as I say, the Twitter space has been absolutely supportive to us, and I'm personally really enjoying it. And as I say, I mean, having space like here now with you in South Africa and me in London is just unbelievable, and it's, in a way, I would say it's miraculous. So thank you so much for having us.
It's a pleasure from our side, and we also we've been hosting spaces for such a while that it's a part of our lives now. It's a part of our jobs. I think at some point my partner left me. There was someone left me because I was hosting spaces so much, and it was just that, and yes, because it was so much a part of my life that I stopped even going out to date nights and Sunday walks, because now there's jazz Sundays in the morning and so and so. So I think it's become a beautiful part of our lives, which from my side keeps on teaching me as a human being, keeps on teaching me as a person who's in the arts and who's in this beautiful thing called music. And shout out to them, absolutely, to Twitter Spaces for giving us this easy method, this vehicle of broadcasting, of just getting onto it and being able to speak to someone and communicate and share thoughts and share wisdom with people from around the globe. So shout out to them, and we're so grateful. We're so grateful. But as I said, I think John, I can cue on this one. I'm not sure what you're gonna play for us now, but please go ahead and please share with us what you're gonna play for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I thought that it's obviously the first since I've come across that you're from Cape Town in South Africa, and this is, a South African community, and we're sharing obviously with all over the world. I did a bit of a research, and there is a actual jazz pianist called Abdullah Ibrahim, who is actually from Cape Town. He is a South African jazz pianist in 1930s. He was influenced by someone like Duke Ellington, Gillespie, Louis Armstrong, all these wonderful jazz musicians. And he actually had a lot of compositions himself. And it's actually a lot of educational space, I would say, for these kind of things when I play. And I thought, why not start off with some South African jazz composers' music? And this is just a little paid tribute, and it's just my appreciation to you all, Vox, and all these community, Lloyd, and as I say, Vox, man, you've been so great to us so far, supportive to our spaces as well. So this is called The Wedding, and I think I believe that this is one of his highlight music, and very interesting piece because actually I was very, very, very intrigued, actually, the way that Abdullah actually was trying to do, with experiment with his own compositions. But without further ado, with enough talking, I'll introduce you this wonderful piece, Abdullah Ibrahim, The Wedding.
Amazing, 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 amazing. Thanks so much. Thanks so much, John. And just to share a bit more about that piece you just played, it was actually released in 1980. Imagine that. So we are almost 50 years into it after that song was released. And yes, Abdullah, I mean, he was so loved. He is still so loved by us South Africans and around the world. And I think he's also made such huge impacts around the world. So thanks for playing that. Thanks for playing that. That sounded so amazing. I was talking to a friend of mine before I hosted the space. I'm like, this one is for the record books, because for the first time, we are having music being played by someone overseas. So this one is for the record books, indeed. So thanks again, John. Thanks so much. So before I carry on and I overindulge my sweet Zulu voice, let me give the mic to Lloyd, the other host of Music Nights. Lloyd, please unmute.
Yo, I wanted to ask Anna if you guys are saying that you are piano Avengers, but I could see plus or minus 7 instruments on your logo. How did that come about?
Piano does have strings. So Live Piano Avengers were piano only when Yoon started the club. But it became kind of my idea to evolve and to include, not to be discriminatory towards other instruments. And since piano, acoustic pianos and upright have strings as well, it first started with string players, violin and cello, and guitar. And it kind of started evolving, because you need to be accepting. And the name was already known to our audience and our lovely friends. Some of them are here in the space as well. It was pointless to change it because people recognize Live Piano Avengers as Live Piano Avengers. And it just like that. I don't plan to stop. I plan to implement more instruments and integrate more people. It's just organic growth. That's how I see it.
Nice, nice. Yoon, I was interested to actually find out when did you start playing piano? Because I did a bit of research on you and I saw a video on YouTube that was like 10 years ago. I'm like, he was playing so good 10 years ago. How about now?
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, thank you for finding out the YouTube. I mean, it's actually quite hidden, so you probably could probably find it very difficult to find it. But unfortunately, like I'm not that kind of person who are very good at promoting myself. Actually, as I say, Anna probably know, like I'm a very, very demanding and high maintenance person. But what I'm trying to, with piano, I mean, I started obviously when I was 5 and 6. I were very young, like others do. But in Korea, for example, the culture is that the Western music and the Western instruments, it's like piano and violin, were incredibly popular in my age time as well. So I started off because I've obviously loved it, but then my parents want obviously me to, as a son, to have learned at least one instrument as a hobby. But then more and more I reach to teenager and go to 19, 20, like 20, 21, 22. I thought that piano was the kind of like the instrument that it kind of really grows on me, because I did clarinet and violin as a side instrument as well, but it didn't really click as much as piano. And I just decided to take it up as professionally. It was rather late because I was actually going to study a computer science when I was younger. So I was working at the same time, to get into the engineering side. But then the teacher that time, the piano teacher said that you got to make your minds up. And then I know it was quite late, but if you get into one of the conservatoire, then really just go for the piano and all in to your whole career to there. And ever since then, I was just basically having a long journey and still learning. And as I say, sometimes you probably noticed in 10 years ago, like it was my student time, and that time you have a lot of time to practice and work. But now, obviously, the reality check, you got to earn living and everything. So sometimes it's not as bad. It's not easy to get into the zone of this working business, practicing all the time. So it's difficult. It's difficult. I wouldn't say, I got better, but definitely I have to learn and keep going. I never thought that I was like good because I don't think, as I say, I don't believe in talent of necessarily, because it's all about hard working, how you do it. But I was very, very passive in that way. So my younger life. Actually, I was working very hard, but still very passive and learning a lot. Really, yeah, still. So yeah, there you go.
Thanks. So to be quite curious, what do you guys look for in a person to join the Piano Avengers? Do you guys have like requirements? Maybe if there's someone listening here and it's like, ish, I've always wanted to have a community on Twitter that I would enjoy music with, you know.
That's a good question. That's an excellent question. I believe that music is for everyone. It's absolutely for everyone. But what I am trying to, and Yoon as well, and whole community in Avengers, is trying to nurture professional music. When I say professional, you don't have to be professionally educated, but living should be from music because um, if that's a hobby, that's beautiful, but I don't think you will be that much passionate if your life were dependent on it. This is something that I do know. I'm a daughter of a pianist and granddaughter of a conductor. So, and music is not an easy job. Most of the times, you are barely able to pay your bills and make ends meet. So, this is my wish that a person joining Live Piano Ventures is somebody making a living out of music, or trying to make a living out of music, or planning to make a living out of music, and explore that and support his or her family from music. That would be the number one requirement. There's not a specific audition or something like that. No, absolutely not. Of course, we all have ears. We don't audition, but audience is the one who is receiving that music, and they will also determine whether a player is good enough or not good enough. And the whole sound is in, how would I say, it's in ears of audience in our spaces. So these would be like kind of social requirements. No particular degree, nothing special like that, but professional music, yes.
Okay. Voxman.
I think what we what we also hear for from my side and Lloyd, just to learn so much from you guys, from doing these amazing things and playing instruments that are renowned and that are loved so much by lovers of music, lovers of different genres. And especially as I think I love jazz so much that I even opened up spaces for it. So yeah, shout out to you all. Just want to mention to everyone in the space that everyone is welcome to request the mic, to grab the mic, and just be a part of the conversation. We are a very pleasant and safe space here. Everyone is always welcome to voice their opinions as long as they are quite safe and respectful. We try by all means to keep it like that, please. So everyone is welcome to please grab the mic. And again, welcome to Music Night. Welcome to Music Night on this Wednesday evening. Um, my next question, I think I can share to both Anna and John, is the pandemic and the lockdowns have done dire things to our lives. They've changed our lives drastically. They've made the world of events, the world of musicians, quite different now, and things I think have become of a norm of perhaps being being less outdoor and more indoors, more about getting to know yourself rather than being out there and catching whatever that's out there. But I want to ask from your side in terms of your musical careers, um, how has the last perhaps 2 3 years been, and how has live piano Avengers also on Twitter Spaces helped your personal careers? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. So, in the regards of the Twitter space, as you know, it's I've been introduced actually from Anna here, who actually are fantastic with connection and connecting with people. I was actually, as I say, was very, very in a way passive because like the previous app in Clubhouse, I wasn't obviously thinking as a kind of like a formal way, but at the same time, it was very hard for me that time before Anna was, joined into the team. It was just literally me just trying to organize and everything, and it wasn't easy. In terms of the COVID times, I mean, personally, apart from the performances, I mean, the performances all stopped, but my teaching was also my side job. But I was still teaching a little, but not so much. So in terms of like living, I could have, just survived because I was still earning a living, luckily, and was just doing some online teaching a lot, and perhaps one or two online concerts, but not so much. For me, it was just kind of a break for a couple of months. But then since using, the Clubhouse, the app, and then all of a sudden the Live Piano Avengers, and then now moving into Twitter space, I've just seen like there's a very, very good kind of marketing and a promotion of ways. And I was not really into these things before. But more and more I'm researching it and obviously sharing space with yourself, Lloyd, and Anna, and all these people and musicians all over the world. It's kind of one of the common things that you've got to kind of have to do, if you want to be, keep promoting yourself. And it's probably the kind of easiest or quickest way to communicate with other people in the world. And it's fascinating, really. And ever since, you meet all of a sudden, even though you haven't meet people like offline, but you manage to become friend and a colleague through online. And sometimes if you're lucky, you might get invited into a different genre, like venues and the countries. So there's so many possibilities now that you can explore as a musician. And I think the Twitter space definitely, I would say that it gives that, opportunity. For example, as a young Steinway artist myself, Steinway, they have a huge account, and including obviously Grammophon, Deutsche Grammophon, all these wonderful classical, agents and the record companies. They always lurk around, in the spaces. So you just never know who you're going to meet, who you're going to come across. So that's why what Anna was suggesting is that because of that, she thought that it would be so much nicer to do it professionally, at least, even though we're having fun, at least give a good content creating so that when these people tune it in, at least we don't waste our time and also not waste their time. And the fact that is someone who's younger, who's just willing to come to the professional stage, we can be as an ambassador to help them, perhaps to give a little bridge to become, help to get their opportunities. Because as I say, these days, even before COVID, there are so many youngsters, musician-wise, not many people get a chance, only a couple of few and top tiers. But even though there are some amazing players out there who haven't obviously necessarily in the media, but there are so much hidden gems. And that's basically what our team, especially Anna and I, kind of discussed it before, to say, at least if we can also inspire all these youngsters, then I think that's something we're doing something good into the world. And I think in this, I would say, not very pleasant world we're living in, at least if the Live Piano Avengers can give a little glimpse of that lightness and positiveness, and I'll be very, very happy myself. And that's what I'm trying to do as a musician and performer, just to play well, play yourself, get better at times, just that you can influence at least other people.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for that, John. And you just mentioned at some point about the Steinway. Steinway. You've played there. You've played at Steinway Hall. You've played in some really amazing places around the world. You've played at South Bank Center. So when we look you up, you are quite a genius, quite an amazing person, John. And thanks for giving us your time. Thanks for gracing us with your presence, man.
No. I mean, I would say that's very, very, flattering to hear. But as I say, I'm compared to many, many musicians out the world, I'm nothing. I'm just, as I say, I'm trying to be like them. But rather than like that, I just wanted to be myself. That's the first thing. But my biography, don't fall over it. Anyone can be impressive. Anyone can play. All I just wanted to just say to you is that as long as whether I'm, in a top tier or anywhere, if I can share this opportunity with you at least now, with anywhere in the world, that is the beauty of it. And that's what I wanted to be actually as a musician, is not to become a musician just for myself, but for other people. And because music is to share, and that is one of the alternative of community, I would say, communication. Music, I would say, universal language, we always say. And through music, we heal, we make friends, and that's what we're doing now. So I'm very privileged. So thank you, actually, not me. Thank you very much.
Shout out, brother. And before I just give the mic to Anna, I think after Anna answers the question, I think John, could you give us another beautiful piece from your side? Perhaps we can take a tea break or coffee break or cigar break. From wherever you are, I mean, you could have some wine. I'm having a Chenin Blanc today, having some good white wine. And we are known in South Africa for our good Chenins. Um, hopefully you'll support our Chenins. Please, Anna and John, wherever you are, please do support our Chenins and our wines. We make some really good Chenin Blancs in South Africa. So just to share the same question that I asked John, and from your side, yes, what has Twitter Spaces personally done for you, and also in terms of the lockdown and the pandemic, how has that contributed to your career as a person who plays the piano, who plays the organ? You play some beautiful. I've seen some videos. I checked you out, and you're something else. So please share with us. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. First of all, I'm not a performing artist. I'm a medical doctor. So music is just my hobby. It's also part of my life because, as I said, I was born in a musical family. For me, Twitter Spaces, well, I was actually inspired by a pianist called Igor Levit because back in 2020, he's an outstanding pianist here in Germany. He did so many online concerts for the community, and I wanted to do something similar. And I wanted to gift community with music, as I said. When it comes to connections, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful when I see in Space Timeway official account tuning in. It's beautiful. And then they retweet the space, which they did. It's absolutely outstanding. And let's be honest, it's a free PR. It really is. All of the musicians in Live Piano Avengers and all of the musicians around the world, they need a boost. It has nothing to do with their ego. It has to do with their sensitive artistic side. Um, they don't know how to promote themselves good. This is for sure. Either they go overline or they're completely underlined, but they're never in a straight line. And I have 32 musicians in my family and this lovely live piano Avenger music family and so many people of music in my life. I think I have maybe 5 or 6 people in my life who don't play any instrument. And one common trait that I found in them is that they're never in a straight line. And that's what music agents and producers and labels are doing. They're trying to kind of steer them in a right direction and trying to promote their talents. I always say that a musician is gifting world with 2 things that money cannot buy. That's talent and time. That's something we cannot buy and we cannot be gifted, and we either we have it or we don't have it. And they can be sometimes too altruistic. I support altruism, but they need motivation as well. They need promotion as well. They need to be heard because music is to be heard. If there's no receptive audience, if there's no proper promotion, it's like hauling in the wind. And well, you play, but nothing ever happens, right? You need to have a listener. And when I speak about listeners, I don't speak about quantity of people. I speak about quality of people who are genuinely listening and supporting that. Because when we leave this world, art will prevail and it will remain after these artists. And that's the fact. They are creating art not for present, but for future. And it's also more moral obligation to share it with as many people as possible, and people who are willing to help and contribute. Another of my desires is to support young students. I used to study music, and I think because of the lack of guidance, I went from small communistic regime to big America, Juilliard, and that was like pre-internet era, pre-Twitter Spaces, pre-voice apps. I didn't have that much support. You know, your parents call you, ask you, did you eat well? Are you wearing warm clothes? But that kind of emotional support and things like that, they didn't do. And it's not because they were not willing to do it. It's just because, you know, uh, I think that kind of guidance and support and motivation you don't actually have from your parents, because they're more worried about your safety, security, and happiness. But when you are like 19, 20, 18, 16, 17, 21, what is happiness for you? You need a really big motivation to practice. You need a really big motivation to survive the day, especially in music world. So in conservatoires around the world, most of the students are not from that country. They come from all over the world. A lot of them don't even speak proper English, and a lot of the times we're completely lost. Music is also expensive sport. Scores are not cheap. If your tuning of instrument is not cheap, owning an instrument is not cheap. um, Establishing relationship with patrons and patronage, that is very common in music. You need a guidance for that. If you are 17, 18 years old, it's impossible to make a relationship with a patron unless you have somebody to guide you, an agent or a parent or a family member, a friend who is music knowledgeable about music industry and business. um, Using words, industry, and business might be harsh, but it's a reality. No matter what genre, it's a reality. Whether you create jazz, and I see Lloyd is clapping, deep house music, whether you play a trombone, a piano, or whatever, you are part of the business, you're part of the industry, and either you make it or you break it. When I say make it, you don't have to be on Billboard. No, you don't, but making it means that you can make and pay your bills. That's what, and be comfortable. So, and in today's world where machines are creating music, and where even it's hard to find organic sample for sampling music, I think that's one of the goals of Live Piano Avengers, because now on Twitter Spaces there are so many youngsters who are tuning in and have their accounts, and maybe one of them will be. We actually had this experience. I had in our spaces 3 or 4 students from conservatoires who would come and patiently listen, and then they would say, "Oh, thank you very much, and thank you so much for actually pushing you into play that." Because sometimes I push you into practice certain piece in the space, because they get motivated to practice themselves. So that's about it. Everybody needs that motivation, and I hope that Live Piano Avengers will serve as that. At least if we can change and make somebody smile, I think we did a good job.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the last part, just making people smile, making people happy. Um, that's the greatest thing that one needs, because there's so many sad faces out there. There's so many sad people out there that the minute you play music, the minute you start out playing something amazing, something perhaps they can recognize, and just changes their whole mood or their whole situation wherever they are. So thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing that, Anna. And as I said before, Anna actually answered my question. We will give another. This is another time we will give John the mic, so he can give us another beautiful note, another beautiful play for us. And yes, welcome again. This is Music Nights, and we have this I think every 2 weeks or so. It differs in terms of the day. And tonight, yes, our guest is the live the live piano Avengers, and we are so privileged to have them. So, John, please take it away. Thank you.
Thank
Before
you
John
very.
takes it away, John, please check your DM. I sent you something. Please check your DM.
Yes, I've actually checked it. I was going to actually reply to you. I didn't know that. Thank you so much for that feature. But fortunately, I think because I've actually already equipped with my mixer, and I think that prevents me to select.
Oh,
Yes, so I think it's already should be okay. So next
okay.
time I'll try and check without the equipment and see if that actually makes a difference. But thank you so much
Okay.
for that, by the way. Thank you. Great. So thank you. And the next piece I'm going to try out, it's another piece actually by Abdullah Ibrahim, and it's called The Mountain, which I actually find it very, very nice too. And I'm going to play this and then mix and match a little bit of, since I'm in London, I'm going to try the Beatles Yesterday in a kind of jazz version. Since we all love jazz, let's continue with this mood. Hope you enjoy it.
Twitter Space has just become even better and better and better, and it's all because of amazing artists that we are able to have as guests and have on our spaces. So shout out to John, beautiful piece. It just gives me memories now, and memories of home, especially home. You know, when growing up, and our parents were forcing us to listen to music when you were young and you didn't want to listen to it. It gives me those beautiful memories of just home. Big up to you, man, John. Thanks, and thanks for taking your time to actually being our compiler for the space today, being the music selector. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I think Lloyd, you had your hand raised before we went to John, but if you can carry on, brother.
Oh yeah, oh man, Anna spoke about a lot of stuff that hit home. Yo, and I heard that you said you have 32 musicians. I'd like to attend one of the family functions. 32 musicians in a family. Yo, that's remarkable. Um, so I'm gonna make a bold statement, right? I want to hear your views on that statement. Even the listeners, you can actually give me your views on that. I personally believe that each and every human on earth has to actually play at least one instrument, even if you don't become that good at it. Just the basics, knowing those D majors, C majors, C minor on an instrument. I think having to understand and play music and learn theory, it kind of like gives you that you become musically conscious. And if you think about it, music is everywhere. You watch a movie, there's music. You watch a series, there's music. You go to stores, there's music. Everywhere there's music. So if you learn at least an instrument, it's gonna open you up to understanding other genres. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that statement that each and every man should at least play one instrument?
Oh, I
So I'll
absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. I think we are all actually musicians, whether we are playing or not. I think we are all musicians. Listeners are musicians as well. And it's never too late to play an instrument. Even if you're 90 years old, I can teach you a bit of piano. I cannot make you a concert pianist, but I can teach you a basic piano. You will play, you maybe will able to play a tune or two. Simple one, it's going to make you happy. It's going to brighten up your view about life, because music is very antidepressant. When you play, you cannot be in a bad mood because subconsciously your body is doing everything. For example, piano, I can speak about piano because that's the instrument that I'm most familiar with. Piano is played with whole body. People just think it's hands. No, it's not. It's whole body, and at the same time, you're thinking about the notes, proper notes that need to be played, and you're watching and being careful and being very immersed in music. If you want to be a bit better, you need to pull up your emotions into that composition as well, and pour it out and present it to audience. Um, so for me, I really believe that everyone in the world should play something. They don't have to be good. They don't have to. It doesn't matter how old they are or how young they are. They can learn. It's never too late to learn. This I promise. Absolutely, it's never too late to learn. People with disabilities learn to play an instrument. It all depends which instrument and which one resonates with a person. There's so many beautiful instruments and so many ways to express yourself through music. Even playing a simple chopstick songs on piano can make somebody happy and observe the world in different way. Music is deeply connected with mathematics in our brain. It's deeply connected with philosophy in our brain and the way we perceive surroundings and the way we accept things as well, and the way we project things as well. So, playing music is something that is definitely beneficial for person, but if not possible to play, then listening as well, because as you well know, music has absolutely healing power and can give us a proper mood, make us feel better, make us remember our first crushes, make us cry over our lost loves, and make us hope for the next events. So that is what music is.
Wonderful. Hyun, I'd also like to get your thoughts on that as well.
No, I completely agree with what Anna said, and I've got nothing really to add because she actually said everything that I was thinking. And it's funny because I've grew up with, you know, obviously with Asian background, with Asian parents, but they are very, very open to the music, for example, because my parents are not musicians, but my dad and my mom always loved classical music. But my dad particularly loved pop music, especially the rock and roll in the 70s and 80s. So like all these Rolling Stones, you know, Scorpions, blah blah blah, etc. So my family always been being very musical in that sense. You know, every time there's a speaker on, the music is always on, wherever genre it is. So it's become a very good friend, what we call the music and the arts. And I think music, as I say earlier, that is a part of the communication. And sometimes you don't speak the other languages. When you, soon as you play something, maybe whether it's a piano or not, or maybe it's different genre, you kind of immediately engage. And there's something that I really like about that, bridging the gap, almost. And I'm very, very actually, in a way, happy that I'm a pianist and a musician. And of course, it's not an easy journey because there's so many hard work that you have to put on. It's not just comes out, out of the blue. You always have to work for it because, of course, it's a very competitive world. The field is not easy. Arts and music definitely, but I think generally, like, I never kind of thought about being too serious, when it comes to music, and when I was in students' time as well, I just liked it to play, really. And maybe that's why I wasn't really into this kind of, say, business, for example, because some students or some musicians are incredibly talented, maybe very well thought out with their business mind as well with the music. But for me, I was very, very delusional in that sense, very, very naive. I just liked the instrument itself, and it didn't really matter what, which venue or which place or whatever genre like I got given. The reason I'm doing this space is because generally because I enjoy doing it. How often? Because like sometimes, obviously after 7 or 8 hours work, all you want to do is just have a rest and have to take a break. But as soon as I, turn on the mic and with the equipments and with the piano on and with a lot of great friends here and supporters, you kind of forget that, and then you kind of also heal yourself and enjoy yourself through the music and through the communication and keeping in touch with and staying in touch with all these amazing people. So I really just been being very cherished every single moment of this, and I think in terms of my career, actually, it's also definitely beneficial. As Anna said earlier, she's motivating me in a very, very kind of good way to practice all these I would say non-played pieces, which I've forgotten about. And then all of a sudden I got introduced again in a space and then I play. And then for example, my sight reading, or maybe sometimes I have to hear it like instantly. All these little things actually helps. And before, I'd actually have to be honest, like I thought that was not going to help me in any sort of way, but I can see now, whatever you do, it will benefit you. And as I say, even this space, having us and inviting me personally to play for you, as a South African community, it's just such a privilege, but at the same time, it's so educational because I was researching, for example, the South African music. As you earlier said, Amapiano was one of the greatest, popular music style like you have in South Africa. But there's so many other great talented musicians in South Africa, for example, not just jazz, but in all sorts of ways. So I remember actually, there was funny enough that I can't remember the name, but there was another pianist from South Africa, which he's not well known, but he was performing the Chopin Piano Concerto Number 2 with a big orchestra. Hopefully, I can find that name and let you know later. But see, it's just there's so many hidden gems from all over the world, and this is why I like about the space. And what a joy, really, what a joy to have this. And yeah, I'm really enjoying a bit. Thank you.
Next one. Voxman.
Shout out for shout out for sharing so much wisdom and so much interesting thoughts to the space, and from my side, yes, as a lover of all kinds of music, as hosting spaces and also just interacting with so many different people, we just keep on learning, and we can only keep on learning. And I read this one time when I was still an apprentice that you have to be a sponge in life. You have to grasp and take it all in and take as much information as possible. And I think, as John just said, Twitter Spaces also gives us that, because we just have all these different views and beautiful thoughts about this amazing industry that we're all in, and we're giving and we're sharing, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it so much, so much. So my next question, but before I ask it, just to share again to everyone else who's in the space, everyone is welcome to grab the mic. Yes, to grab the mic and be a part of the conversation. We don't bite. I don't think we look like people who bite. Yes, I have a red bucket hat on, but I don't bite. I'm not the big bad red wolf from somewhere, but please, you're welcome to grab the mic and be a part of the conversation. We are an hour and 13 minutes into it, so we are left with plus 45 minutes into the space. We're just going to be able to have 2 hours. So music nights is always like at least 2 hours. So we give people good time to go and get some good rest, because people have to go to work tomorrow, and perhaps take some time for family and kids and so on. So thanks you for joining us again. Thanks for coming through. And thanks for being a part of us. My next question is, let's start with Anna again. Um, Anna, in terms of as we are hosting spaces, there's quite a few of us in South Africa who host musical spaces, more specifically, and we are seeing a slight change in terms of artists being more welcome to social media businesses, right? What music gives to business, and what business gives to music. And with us hosting spaces, people actually get to connect more with artists. Artists get to connect more with us, the listeners and supporters and fans. And in that manner, also they artists themselves have platforms now where they can come up and share their next gig, or their next the next music video that's coming out, or the next song that's coming out. Because in South Africa we quite close in that segment. Radio is not really doing so good, but we are doing that on our spaces. And I'll ask from your side, is that also the plan, perhaps, for live piano Avengers, in terms of you want to open so many portals for musicians, for business also, that it all thrives together? It all comes together in one nation, and unites so gladly that everyone, fan, supporter, client, sponsor, artist, actually gets so fulfilled by hosting spaces. Thank you.
Oh, I absolutely agree with what you said. First of all, I love the organic approach towards the audience. I am a host who tends to tries to get to know people who are visiting spaces that I curate personally. I used to curate big spaces on Clubhouse with 7K people at one moment, smaller spaces, but bigger spaces. But I always tend to get to know people. I get to know people through music. For example, in this space, I know that Bobby, our wonderful artist on Twitter, community leader, she loves an Audi, which explains that she can be sometimes in a mellow mood. She loves jazz and blues. I know that Block loves Autumn Leaves. It's one of his favorites. Elaina, who is in Brazil, and Javier in South America, they like Yuruma. They like also Ghibli. Donika loves Mariage d'Amour. So I see Asako-san here. She's from Japan. She loves BTS. Miami's in Chicago. She loves, and her daughter, they love Disney and they love to dance. So through that, you get to know people, you make friends. And all the collaborations are coming from friendship. If you are not friends with people you collaborate with, you are not going to achieve anything. That comes with entrepreneurs as well. I treat everybody equal. On social media, sometimes people are judged based on followers. That is something that is absolutely ridiculous, and I'm against it. I follow everybody back, even a troll. Even a troll has should have an access to music, and he or she might be healed through music. So long live the trolls, just not on stage, obviously. Entrepreneurs, VIP people, as they call them, all welcome. If they find value in our spaces and they want to reach out, their doors are absolutely open. But one thing I realized through curating so many spaces and so many concerts, I don't even know the number. I don't think that Yoon even knows. We did so much. Those big names, for example, Steinway, they come to our spaces, but they come from web hidden. You cannot see them in space, especially, on Twitter Spaces. You can see the 13 first 20 something people, and then later you cannot see. New Zealand Philharmonics, major name, you cannot see them. I had in Frida's space, wonderful Frida from Brazil, Ellen Pompeo, actress, she didn't want to come on stage, the one from Grey's Anatomy. She was in the space, she popped in for 10 minutes and she listened and liked a couple of posts and she left. After she liked a couple of posts, of course, it opened Live Piano Avengers account. That's it's also curating these spaces, and I think you might agree with this. You get opportunity to meet people from all levels of social circumstances in society. You get to know their vibe, their mood, and you learn a lot about yourself as well through interaction with them. And for the main goal, I think that the goal should be of everyone who are curating spaces to put ego aside and to interact and to collaborate and to be more interactive with each other and to support positive vibes. I always say spread love, not germs. That's very important in today's century because, after COVID, we should spread a new virus that is actually not new, but we need to reinvent it. It's called love. And if we like each other, if we are supporting each other, I think that people who are entrepreneurs and people who are able to add maybe monetary value, maybe better PR and things like that, they will recognize that if people are behaving organic. So these are my thoughts on your question.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I just want to give another thanks. I mean, we talked about this, Lloyd, before we opened the space. We said we're gonna have a good one today, another massive one. And shout out to you, Anna, and shout out to John for being our guest tonight. We have a new speaker. Someone quite wonderful who's always in our spaces, and she's a lover of music. I'll give her the mic, and let's hear what she's got to say. Bali, good evening, please. Could you unmute? Thank you.
Good evening. So thank you for giving me the mic, and thank you. I didn't know I was actually wonderful. because hey, sometimes on those spaces in the mornings, hey, this morning you guys were something else. Anyway, not to go off topic. I'm sorry I joined late. I actually was planning to join on time because is it Emmy? Emmy?
It's Anna.
Anna. Um, she's always showing, like on your top bar of spaces, she's always showing. And then yes, it gets so confusing because it's like you don't know which space to join. You need to listen to your mood. You need to listen to your vibe. You need to listen to your yesterday, your tomorrow, your kind. You know what I mean? Most of the times, I always see her on my banner, and I've actually just remembered. I think I started following her. It was when Twitter Spaces had just been involved, and we were all going through it all. And I was following in her space, and I felt so calm and peaceful because she's now, in the few minutes that I've listened, she's talking about music, producing, interconnection with your listeners, and Twitter has become a bit more, not a bit, a lot more intimate. So it's not like the producers, everybody's up there. It's evolving in a way that you touch my soul through your voice and the lyrics that whoever writes for you, and my energy to be there. I don't know if I'm articulating myself in a way that I can. I'm sorry, I'm about to sleep. But I actually, when I joined the space, I was like, I remember Anna, and I remember I had to excuse myself because at the time, I'm not sure where she's based, but I think it was that space was running on Australia time. So they had just woken up and I was just going back to sleep. And there were artists coming in, and it was a different vibe. It was a poetry session. It was just like a very creative and a very much needed um escape space from, I remember what was going on at the time. And I might be talking like at the time is 8 years ago. No, at the time is like maybe last year, or when all of this was unfolding and we just hit a whole 180, and we just really all on survival mode. I was actually talking to a friend of mine, and she's like, earlier today, said, Mbali, when is it gonna end? I'm like, babe, it's not gonna end. You just kind of like have to wake up and be ready for anything. And I think as a creative, not me, because I'm just like an IT person. As I'm addressing the creatives, that you know, a lot happens to us. A lot happens, and we don't know what's going to happen. However, you must always be in that space that whatever happens, you kind of like have to know what you do. And that's where I find artists, I'm so amused because I'm like, I can be in any mood or space. And then I have to breathe, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna choose this artist. And it's like, how did that artist know way back then that Mbali would today be in this position? Very good, very bad, very mild. Okay, please stop me, host, because I can talk. And I'm actually just having my supper, so I want to finish it before it gets cold. But I'm loving how everything is just connecting. I think I followed I followed, is it Emmy or Anna? I followed long ago, and I wanted, when I followed her, there was so much chaos, and I just found a space. And then it calmed me down. I was like, okay, I can do with this. And I love that this is what artists can do. They can calm you down, they can take you up there, they can take you to the mood where your energy vibe is, should, where, or must come out of. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I think I must go off mic for a bit. Thank you.
Before you let Mbali go, Anna, would you like to reply to that? Mbali,
Oh,
thanks a lot
these are
for
beautiful
grabbing.
words. I really appreciate. I'm happy that everything that Avengers do is resonating with her, and beautiful shout out to me personally. I'm very, very grateful. She was speaking about mood. I think this is what we were talking about, that it's very, that music is And she mentioned poetry. We have poets as Sherry in Live Piano Avengers. It can hit the right string at that moment, at that time. It can ground you and make you remember things and make you forgive yourself and make you love yourself and make you be happy and joyful for upcoming days. And that is what our art is about. And I'm happy that she resonated with spaces and resonated with everything that we are creating. And things like these and this kind of positive feedback is also a positive feedback to all the artists. And they give us this energy boost, vitamin boost to continue doing what we are doing. And thank you very much for your wonderful words, and enjoy your supper.
Thank you, Mbali. Thank you, Mbali. Enjoy the supper. Hopefully, it's good food that you made. Next time, please make for us too. But thanks for joining. Thanks for coming through. I think it's that time again when we will let the wonderful John give us another this wonderful piece of music, and we'll just hear some beautiful tunes from our guest. Just to reiterate to our listeners and everyone else who's in the space, thank you again for joining us. This is Music Nights, and you are still welcome to grab the mic. We are left just plus minus 30 minutes into the space, so you can still grab the mic and be a part of this conversation and just talk to us and give us your thoughts, please. So I'll give the mic now and the platform to the wonderful John. John, please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so the next pieces that I've prepared for you, another standard jazz. I'm going to mix and match, first of all, with My Funny Valentine, Misty, and Autumn Leaves, all these wonderful jazz that I've prepared. Eventually, towards the end, I also have prepared some classical music just to finish off as well. So plenty of music to delight you, and obviously, hopefully, these kind of breaks can also give a little break to our wonderful host and co-host to get rest and get some water. So I hope you all enjoy.
Wow, I like that. I like that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you once again. Thank you so much. I think we've had spaces and we've had good, amazing spaces. But today, I think today tops all our spaces that we've hosted till now, alongside Lloyd. And we've been doing this, I think now it's nearing 12 months. Yes, it's nearing 12 months of hosting these musical spaces. And I can say personally from my side, today tops all of them off. It absolutely does. And we've had some international guests. I think we've had a couple of months ago. We had Michi, the vocalist, who's based in Netherlands. Yes, we've had her. We've had Mark Farina from the States, the legend DJ himself. Oh, we've had him, and we've had a couple of guys, and it's been amazing. It's been good just to share thoughts, just to have a chat with them, just to grow our thoughts and our base on loving this so much, and having listeners and their supporters also come up and just give love back. And I think that's one of the most precious things that one can get. So thanks again to John and Anna for giving us the opportunity to spend some time with them. I see here we have another new speaker. Tumisang always comes up to our spaces, always joins us. He's always enjoying our spaces. Even grabs the mic as often as he does, and he has today too. So let me welcome him, and let's give him the mic and hear what he's got to say this evening. Tumisang, please grab the mic, brother. How are you doing?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. How are you guys?
Oh, good, man. Oh, good.
No, I just want to say shout out to the legends, man. I'm enjoying the music. I don't have much to say. Just want to say like I enjoy the music, and then yeah, it's refreshing as I'm doing the laundry here. I'm enjoying the music, man. Thank you
Is,
very much, man.
is the music making the laundry more cleaner?
Yes, it's making me more productive. I just want to say I'm enjoying the music, man. Keep it up.
No, shout out, brother. Shout out, shout out. Hopefully you don't skip any, you don't skip anything whilst listening to the music. But shout out to you, and thanks for joining us and gracing us with your time.
No problem. Thank you.
I think we've got like 20 minutes to go now. I think so. Yeah, I'll give a good another round of questions, and then we'll have John play us another tune, and we'll close off at some point. And just to add, our spaces, what we do is every time before we end, so we just give the mic to anyone who's available, and we just give them a mic for last remarks. So we do that just before we close. So last remarks is basically you sharing your thoughts regarding today's space, sharing your thoughts perhaps regarding our guests today. If there's anything perhaps you failed to say earlier on, or you just forgot, you can say it in the last remarks, and that is towards the last segment of our space. So thanks again to everyone, we wouldn't be anything as hosts of music spaces if it wasn't for people who come through and actually tune in and listen to us speak and listen to us play music. So for my next question, I'll start with Anna. Anna, there's so many things that we are noticing regarding our local artists, um, and I'll focus more towards the space that we do on Fridays. So on Fridays we do the deep house space where we allow producers and musicians to come onto the space, and we play their music that has been perhaps released on the day or recently released, and they tell us a bit more about it, and we just go forth into it. I want to know regarding the body of live piano Avengers. Is is there plans perhaps moving forward in terms of having live events and performances? If there has been also, perhaps could you share more about that if there has been? But if there hasn't been, what is the plan moving towards that? Because I think one of the things that the deep house scene in South Africa lacks is people behind the music. So it lacks not just booking agents, but it lacks managers for these amazing artists for their music to not just fall through the cracks, but to keep on soaring. So to keep on soaring in terms of going through corporate, going through media, and so on. So that's what we really having a struggle with right now. We have so many amazing artists that their music just falls through the cracks because there's no one actually just paying attention to the music and guiding them and making sure that the music actually lives on forever. So I want to know from you, Anna, is there perhaps work on that? That you've built such a beautiful thing, such a beautiful family of artists and musicians. Is there plans perhaps moving towards that, having events and perhaps managing those artists and building more and more? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Oh, I don't have one plan. I have 5,005 plans. So I think one of the first things will probably be online festivals. Our lovely Sherry is organizing a Scriabin Festival upcoming, and Avengers are gonna support that. And then probably in future we will be organizing online festivals based on topic, whether it's gonna be classical music, whether it's gonna be jazz. One of the other planned, smaller maybe, that is achievable will be curated paid stages online and offline, depending of circumstances when it comes to these pandemics and things that are happening. When it comes to projects, as I said, I have 5,005 plans. My brain works so much that sometimes, Avengers, I just give a task like a single parent of several children. So first, I want to definitely do this online because it's more easier. Obviously, we are from 5 continents. It's probably going to be themed based, whether it's going to be certain composer era or something like that, something that I will discuss with Avengers in our backstage. When it comes to managing, they are terrible managers. I know this. I absolutely know what you're talking about. They are the worst for themselves, and I'm usually their voice. And I'm actually fortunate and happy and honored that they allow me to be their voice. They don't have to do this, and but they showed trust towards me personally, and I treasure that, and I proceed with caution always because they're like my family. It doesn't matter that because just because we are separated, by oceans and continents means absolutely nothing. Love is love, and so definitely that there's going to be offline things as well. There are several festivals in Croatia, where I'm from. Croatia is one big stage during summer that we absolutely, and I see Sherry sending hearts. She's interested as well that we're going to have Avengers there as a team. I think that the whole story of different people, different races, different age group is very interesting on one stage. And I think it's not only about music, how people will play and how will they be good enough or not good enough, but it's that social humanity side, when you have, I call like United Colors of Benetton on one stage of this beautiful humans, and it's a good message for people, especially now. There's so many things negative happening around the world. I don't want to bring them in musical spaces. That's not why we curate them, but we should be aware of negatives toward human towards human, and we should strive to beat that even on small examples like live piano Avengers are. Obviously, we cannot change the world, but at least we can give it a shot to make somebody understand well and to learn something about music from different cultures, different areas, different genres, and things like that. So when people recognize that, people approach as well. And I'm a kind of, I come from a, as I said, communistic regime where it was very hard to survive. So I take up seize opportunity and always try to think, not one but 10 steps in future. I try to do my best to motivate. I sometimes rant a lot on them, and they know that, but it all comes from love. Because when you are silent on the matter, that means you absolutely don't care, and I very much care. So besides online events and festivals, definitely one of the steps will be sessions. Sessions is a platform with stage and paid events. Another platform that is music only. So that is something where I see Avengers in near future. And I'm already talking currently with Spotify for online performances there, but they don't have live music. So they are, I mean, I'm trying to change the platform as well. And offline, depending on circumstances. I mean, we have been, situation has been changing every 24 hours, and we had to adapt to it. But it's possible. The point is that they are all happy and healthy, and that they enjoy what they're doing. And of course, if we can give them a boost, feature them, push them out there in the world to be heard, that's wonderful. And that's why I want to take the opportunity to thank you for inviting us into this space, because 2 hours ago, South African community didn't know about live piano Avengers, and now they know. And perhaps somebody's going to leave the space, and he or she is going to say to their family or friends, oh, guess what, I was on phone and I was listening to this Korean pianist living in UK. Who is he? Let's check him out. And that's how it goes, organically, purely based on love and friendship. So this is what online gives us. And you never know, maybe next year we will be in South Africa performing. This is, if you put a thought to the universe will respond. So
Absolutely. There'll be something. There'll be something else. Be something so amazing. Um, we are working on a few things. I mean, we've been hosting spaces for so long, and we've been working on actually just hosting our own live events too. So we're on that, and it's something that definitely gonna happen soonest. So thanks for sharing that, Anna. Thanks for sharing that so much. And just to take the question to the same question, same similar question to John. John, as a live performing artist, I mean, you've played in so many amazing places. You've gotten so many accolades in the world and awards. From your side, where do you see especially social media heading to, and where is it heading to in regards to the lives of musicians? Because you see what TikTok is doing. We see it so much. I mean, in terms of music, and it has taken the world by storm. But from your side, where do you see it going? But also, where would you like to see social media head through to as an artist, as a performing artist? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. Yes, it is in fact actually a very good observation. And as I said, as I've early mentioned myself, I'm a very passive. I'm still are actually. I'm very not very well into these updated with apps and everything. But I've been encouraged, obviously, with fantastic friends and people and colleagues and supporters, and it's a really pleasure to experience these things, and getting in touch with so many different ways of performing and communicating. However, I'm still, I believe, as a little bit of analog person, but the world is changing, and ever since the COVID outbreak came out, the online system has been developed so vastly now, more than ever. It was already like quite popular, but now it's just like this is becoming like the main kind of force. Not just the TikTok, but your YouTube, of course, and then Facebook, Instagram, Twitter Space, etc. So even like my colleagues now, they're much more performing as an online artist than the offline, because the good thing about I guess is that it saves money sometimes because online concert you don't have to prepare anything. Sometimes you just have to not wear anything, suit like formally. You just sit down, maybe put in pajamas, and you still be able to give a fantastic performances if you like to. It can be at your home or it could be your studio. Whereas the offline concerts, like long time ago, you got to travel. If you've been invited to another country, of course, it's lovely to experience it and as a holiday or cultural things. But it's a big ask, and sometimes the artist physically gets very tired and exhausted performing all sorts of way like world. Especially when you go to these higher up musicians who performs 200, 300 concerts per year, traveling. It's not easy. But now with this online apps and online social medias and paths, they can actually balance it out with their offline concerts, of course. But I still believe that in the deep down, this is just my personal opinion, is that the live concerts, the offline concerts are so much more, for me, are more intimate. And I would say it's more, I get more closed with, get to know the artist better than the online. So that's something that I always want to, that's why I always try to go to the offline concerts more now than ever. But for myself, I'm actually, benefiting myself too in a way. For example, like this today, if I didn't actually were in Twitter space or didn't had any accounts in Twitter, I probably haven't met, for example, Anna, Bobby, and yourself, Lloyd, from South African community. I mean, how there would be no connection unless, if I was absolutely in top tier and everything. But I was still humbled enough, I was very humbled that you still invited me as a guest and as a part of the Live Piano Avengers, and you were intrigued with our project through this Twitter, and it's just been absolutely amazing how this has been connected, and as a musician, I think you got to just have to take every opportunity, and that's the only probably my downside at the moment, and I have to really thank Anna here, particularly because she was the one who, not just myself, but like as a whole Live Piano Avengers group, she was encouraging, and she was saying that she was a voice of everything. She is indeed, and she is still, and she makes all the good decisions for us. And of course, it's demanding, but for a musician-wise, she always wanted us to be the best. Not just for other people, but for the best of yourself. And I'm becoming much more, in a way, more I would say, active to research something and try to see what the kind of other fields that there are opportunities are there into. And if I can, as I say, find those opportunities, and as an educator myself, as a teacher, if I can at least, to help or to connect and or to link all these good social platforms to the youngsters who are willing to take up. Obviously, youngsters are so much more advanced that they could use these as their own kind of way to promote themselves, making sure that they are in the right field, in the right time with the right people, and get their best out of them. And as I say, there's so many musicians and artists, so many talented people are still not yet being out, shined. It didn't come out in the world yet, only few. So I just think that I'm hoping that, fingers crossed, that the social media will benefit a lot of things in many ways to these wonderful musicians. And hopefully, as I say, Live Piano Avengers will be the one of them. And hopefully in a few years later, wherever position we are, at least if the people can remember us as like that kind of good way, then I'll be very, very happy. And I think that's what Anna was actually suggesting too. We all were very happy, and as I say, that's just my own opinion. And in the future, I think there will be a lot of positive things will come out. Of course, we have to use it healthily and in a balanced way, because we do also have our own life. So it's all about the balance, I guess. So there you go. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing that, John. And I think yes, we just need a user friendly environment for artists, for musicians, for them also to be at ease with us. I think one of the things that we are challenged with is that especially I don't, especially in South Africa, Twitter is not hasn't been known as a user friendly environment, and sometimes when we invite artists to our Twitter spaces, they reject us because of what Twitter is, because of the notion. They don't even know yet of what spaces are. They haven't been exposed to them as much, or perhaps not even exposed to them at all. But they just reject us and give us blue ticks because we have this on Twitter. So we would like, perhaps, we try by all means to share that we are just here for your music and to spread your love for your music to everyone else, perhaps who hasn't heard your music, so that you get more support from it. But yeah, that's from us. We have some very bad blue ticks in our inboxes, but we move on, and we keep it going. So as I said earlier, before let me do this before we do our last remarks. I think we can give John the last our last segment in terms of where he can play another piece for us, where he can give us his beautiful talent. Yeah, I think Lloyd. Today it was something else. I mean, I can't even think about it yet, but I think I'll think about it until tomorrow to actually grasp it inside. For the fact that we've had John play so much beautiful music for us live on Twitter Spaces, and I remember this one time, Sherry, whilst we were having Jazz Sunday request this one morning. It was a Sunday on our side. It was a Monday from her side, and I think she was rehearsing for an event, and she asked to play some music for us, and she did. So shout out to Sherry, and it's good to see her here. It's a pleasure to actually see her. So shout out to Sherry. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being with us. So before further ado, without further ado, John, please give it away. Give it away, and give us our last segment of music for the space. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As I say, it's been an absolute privilege and a delight to be part of this community and the space today. And thank you very much once again for your wonderful host and co-host, Lloyd, as well. Thank you, Anna, for connecting this wonderful South African community through the Live Piano Avengers. I'm very humbled and flattered to be performing in front of you all. So since, as I say, I'm a classical musician and steinway artist, I thought it would be quite nice to finish off with some classical music. And I've done some, again, the research that Chopin is actually quite a popular composer, actually, in South Africa, that a lot of recitals, Chopin recitals actually being performed in South Africa with many different pianists. So the piece that I'm going to play is the Nocturne E minor, Opus Posthumus, which was composed in 1827, one of the beloved nocturne that he wrote. Nocturne, by the way, it just means a night piece. And he's wrote several nocturnes, but this is one of the popular nocturnes that he wrote. So hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much.
I think John deserves a round of applause from us. So everyone in the space right now, please, please, please. There's claps, there's hearts. I think John deserves a round of applause from all of us, from the wonderful music that he has played for us throughout the space. And it's been absolutely amazing. It's been glorious. As someone who just hosts spaces, this is something else. I mean, we're literally having a live concert on Music Spaces, and it's a privilege and it's an honor. So shout out again to John. This man is amazing. This man is amazing. I think we need to have him on again. Definitely. If definitely we're gonna share the another invite. Perhaps let's see in the next 3 months or so. Let's see where Live Avengers is, and we'll come back and perhaps talk about the succession that he has brought on Twitter Spaces, and as well as just hearing from more of the artists that are in live piano Avengers. So a shout out to John. Thanks so much for that, brother. You've been amazing for this evening on Twitter Spaces. So as mentioned earlier, this is a segment of our spaces where we just share our last remarks. We actually just passed 2 hours of our space time, and the last remarks is where we just share last thoughts regarding today's space and perhaps anything else that one would like to share further that they haven't shared. So I will start with Umbali. Umbali's still here. Excuse me. Hopefully she's
Yeah, I'm
done with
still
her
here.
supper. But
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
yes, I
As
can
I
hear you.
was drinking my water after eating supper, I need to have like a sip of sparkling water, and I just hear Mbali. I'm like, oh my god, gulps, gulps down. This has been so amazing. Um, to be very honest, this is I've joined many spaces that blow my mind, and I'm like, I need to revisit this space again, and I don't even know how it's done, and I can't tell. It's technology is just too much, and I've been in IT for the past, I don't know, over 20 years, and I'm tired. I just press. I just want things to be easier. Anyway, back to my point. This is the first space I'm gonna figure out how do you actually play a recorded space. I think I know how you do it. I just need to make time. Actually, I'm not that dumb. Um, this was amazing because as you've actually just said, the host, I think this is the first live performance I've had, I think, just before COVID started, because I was a Cape Town Jazz Fest person every year, and my job was very hectic. I couldn't who's calling me now? I couldn't even sorry about that. I couldn't even take leave. It was so hectic, but they knew that when it came to live performance, whether it's jazz, but the music I vibe to, and it's like the artist is coming, and I'm like, you know what? And I think this is I'm not. I don't have the right words to say what I'm feeling. It's like this is it. This is why we have artists, because we live in such this crazy world. It's like wake up at 5. I don't do that. Wake up, do this, have kids. Like, it's so much. And then music, I won't say it's an escape. I won't say it's medicine. I won't say it's coping. I'd say it's something that's sort of like just molds us to keep to keep sane. Hence, I've always actually, in my closing remarks, as usual, I just go off page. I go on and on. I think this is what I wanted to say. I've always asked myself, I'm like, okay, we different human beings. How are these ones lawyers? How are these ones I'm very observant, and I'm just always wondering. And I'm always and I've always thought that to be an artist or to be a musician in any or a creative is another form. I'm not saying other whatever's. I'm just saying, but to just have that energy of just connecting one to that center of no, this is my job because I have to drive a flashy car because it's not. I don't know if it's a gift. I don't know if it's a healing. I think I'm sure Lloyd and Vox are rolling the eyes like, oh God, she's not gonna stop. I think I think you guys. I hope you understand what I'm saying, and you know what? I'm such a person that I was like, I don't know how you guys did through the pandemic when you couldn't be your own being of just expressing, just waking up and making up a beat, just waking up and writing up a lyric. And I was like, and we're locked up. And instead of thinking of my finances, okay, yes, I was, obviously. And I was like, yo, imagine of all things, because I mean, I used to wake up and go work because I studied. And then I was like, okay, I study. My parents paid varsity, so I got to make money. But with creatives, it's like you need this freedom that we don't know of, and it's like you kind of like reminding us of it in a way. Okay, I'm gonna stop myself. If you don't stop me, Vox, Lloyd, he's quiet with me,
Yeah,
but
no,
yeah,
thank
I'm
you,
gonna stop
Mbali.
myself because I think I've spoken. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mbali. Thanks for giving us your last remarks.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Lovely space. Thank you. Thank you to the guest. That was just awesome. Thank you. Good night.
shout out to Mbali. Shout out to Mbali. Thank you. Let me give the mic to Anna. Let's start with Anna. Anna, please give us your last remarks regarding today's space. Thank you.
Well, first of all, again, thank you for invitation. It was very humbling and honoring experience. And looking back a year ago, I did not expect that Avengers will be featured in the South African community, and it's very, touching. Because I'm in Little Town in Germany and you're in Cape Town, and here we are sharing ideas and thoughts and music in one online space. So it's kind of, it deserves to be stopped and reflected on. Thank you for that. And I want to thank all the people who are listening to Live Piano Avengers project. I always am mindful that people are employing their phones when they come to these spaces and they're listening. So I have to say I'm really, really grateful for them. I got some wonderful DMs and I really appreciate them because listening to a project and an artist is also a way to support them and a way to obviously give them this boost of energy. I have to say your idea of these music nights and all the spaces you curate it's absolutely outstanding. I said it at the beginning. I'm a great fan of your spaces. They're toxic free music pro and very soothing, very relaxing, and you're a very altruistic person and all your co-moderators. That's just beautiful what you guys are doing, and I wish you a lot of success in the future as well. And wherever we as Avengers can support your spaces, give you some kind of positive energy if possible, you can always count us in because at the end of the day, humanity and friendship is what's all about. So thank you. And it has been absolutely beautiful. I had a lovely 2 hours enjoying with old friends, new friends, future friends, and let's keep things going. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you so much. Thank you. In my home language, Anna, which is isiZulu. So isiZulu says you never stop thanking. And thanks for your presence. Thanks for your time. It's been absolutely a pleasure and an amazing moment for us as hosts of Music Nights. Thank you so much. So next up, let's give the mic to John. John, I said I would try saying your name out. So let me try now. Okay, wait. Before there's someone who has his mic open, and he's just accepted the mic. But yeah, but I guess it happens. So I said I'll try. I'll say yes. Let me try it. So it's you. It's Yoon Seok Shin, right?
Ah,
Bravo.
no, you
That's
can't say souk. You're reading in African siok.
it sounds great. No, I mean, not many people can pronounce that actually well, the Seok, because it's a Korean meaning called a crystal. But Seok is actually not very good pronunciation for many different languages because it's actually very difficult. But Yun obviously is the one that everybody likes to say. John, I don't mind at all actually because I love my English name. So there's nothing wrong with that. And thank you for calling me that because a lot of my English friends, for example, are mates calling me John. So back in the day, youth memories. And yeah, no, great. Thank you.
No, no, shout out, Sean. Shout out. I've been told that I have this disease, yes, of of mispronouncing people's names and butchering them. So I had to try. But John, please, this is your time in the space where you give us your last remarks, please, regarding today's space. Thank you. Please unmute.
Well, thank you very much, Foxman, and also Lloyd, for your fantastic hosting and co-hosting and providing me and Live Piano Avengers and giving an opportunity to play in this wonderful South African community and to your space. And as I say, it's just been absolute privilege to perform in front of all of you, including our many friends who support us from all over the world. As Anna said, we're just here to enjoy the music and provide the best quality music, live piano music, to everyone. As I say, it's not just me. It's the Live Piano Avengers is not just about me, myself, because we have a lot of great musicians. Frida, Sherry here, who's tuned in. Despite the time zone, they've always been very supportive. But we have other many musicians who are all over the world performing for us, and they're also enjoying themselves too in Twitter space, I'm sure. And Voxman, you've been absolutely amazing from start to finish. Thank you very much for making us very comfortable. Bless you, and hope you have great night, and yeah, and very good evening in London as well. It's now 9:16 p.m., 9:15, so hopefully I'll get some little rest and have some dinner. But yeah, no, it's I hopefully to come and again invite and perform to you pretty soon with a different music and a different style. So watch the space and stay in touch.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sean. Thanks for those kind words. Um, we we always hoped. I think last year we had a conference in the beginning of the year regarding our spaces and moving forward, and our talks was more getting building more of a family, building more bases, and that's the reason why you host so many spaces. And I think we've become so relevant also because of the guests that we are somehow able to bring forth because of how not possible to talk to some normal people, just generally, because radio has failed us on that, right? Because on radio, the artist gets there. Normally, they have their chat and they play music, and only the DJ or the host, actually the presenter, can only ask them questions. But with Twitter Spaces, we've allowed supporters of the music, fans of the music, to also just have their say and communicate with their favorite artists and musicians in any kind of field. And that's us. And that's us with hosting these spaces. So thanks again to you, John. Thanks for coming through. And thanks for giving us your last remarks regarding today's space. Next up, I'll give the throw off. The throw off is a vivid fan of music, and he has gladly taken the mic to give us his last remarks. So, the throw off, please unmute, brother, and good evening.
Good evening, Boxman, Lloyd, the guests and the speakers, and as well as everyone in space. Yeah, it's been an interesting space, man. It's been lovely. It's been a treat. Thanks a lot, John, for the and music, live music?
Okay. Before you carry on, throw off. You seem a bit too far from your mic. I don't know if maybe
I think it's
it's
using headsets. Take off
yeah.
the headset.
So please maybe
Yeah, I just disconnected.
yeah. That's
Yeah, that's
better.
better.
That's
So
better.
yeah, thanks. As I was saying, it's been an awesome space. It's been unique. It's been different because usually it's artists and the music, you know. So it was live. Yeah, it was quite a treat. Thanks, John, for the awesome, piano. You took us back yesterday, My dad used to be a huge fan of the Beatles, so it took me back. Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Voxman and Lloyd, what you're doing on the spaces. I think it's awesome because it introduces some of us to other genres, like classical music, through jazz. I think a lot of people on the space connected to you via the Sunday Jazz Request space. So I think, yeah, it's growing into something awesome, and we are glad to be part of it. And yeah, have a good evening, everyone.
Shout out, brother. Thanks for adding your thoughts to the space. Thanks for adding your last remarks to the space. And to everyone else who has joined us today, thank you. We cannot thank you enough for taking your time to be with us, to be a part of us in this beautiful thing that we love doing, which is hosting music spaces. And without you actually making the numbers, or without you actually coming through and listening and adding to the conversation and adding to this beautiful thing, our Twitter spaces will never be anything. So from my side, the host, I'll give Lloyd first to give his last closing remarks, and then we'll play last song. Closing off, we'll just play a song closing off, and then everyone else we can gladly just enjoy the rest of our Wednesday. Lloyd, please give us your last closing remarks. Thank you.
Before I actually give, let me give Yon Seok and Piano Avengers this. This was an awesome space, guys. We do host a lot of music spaces, right? We host a lot of music spaces, but there's something about classical music that just moves the soul, man. There's just something about classical music that moves the, especially uh, a piano playing live. That's just something about it. I truly enjoyed the space, and hopefully in the next few coming weeks or even months, we'll have you guys again on the music nights, and we'll be discussing something different. So I truly enjoyed the space, and thanks for coming, guys. Dango, Foxman.
So Danko, as Lloyd just mentioned now, is a slang term for saying thank you.
Danko,
Yes,
Danko.
yes, yes.
Yeah, means thank you. Dango is thank you.
And danke on German. So danko, it's simple. I'm gonna make sure to remember it for our upcoming spaces and respect South African community on your slang. Danko for having us here. It was a pleasure.
Nicely done.
Thanks for that, Anna. Thanks for that. It's been mostly, I think it's been mostly pushed by this beautiful genre that we have now of Mama Piano, and it's become a culture. So thank you for gracing us, for giving us your time, for giving us your worth of knowledge, for giving us your worth of music, to be a part of this beautiful thing that we've come to love, which is Twitter Spaces, and we keep on learning from it. We keep on adding love to it too. So from my side, It's been an honor. I can't say much. Maybe I'll actually have some words tomorrow. I think so. But for today, I think I could just say thank you, and we'll be in contact. And I think we should share more and more of this beautiful thing that we do. And I really hope Avengers, the live piano Avengers, grow and become something super massive and amazing because it can, and it's all up to us. It's all up to us. We can put in the work. We should put in the work to take it to wherever it can go to. Just like, excuse me, just like we've done with our own Twitter spaces. We put in the work, and it will lead us into making these connections. It will lead us into making this wonder and to meeting these wonderful people. So shout out to y'all for doing this amazing thing. Shout out. I can't give enough. And it's been a pleasure. I will close off with the song that has been requested by Lloyd. Um, and perhaps you'll actually know about it. So Lloyd has requested the Crissini project, Merry-Go-Round of Life. Yes, from the Howl's Moving Castle original motion picture soundtrack. So we close off with that, and we'll close off the space.
Did you know that Yoon can play that live?
Oh, that'd be great. Actually, I wanted to ask him, but since he
Yeah,
had done
Ghibli,
his,
Ghibli. I don't. Yoon, can you hear this? The
Yeah.
request? I'll play it live.
Oh, see, I've closed all my equipments, but I'll try without then.
I with the tip that Lloyd gave you. Come on, let's be organic and
yeah,
natural.
use the tips I gave you. Come on
Yeah.
now.
Now I
And that's Howl's Moving Castle. That's actually the only Ghibli I've seen, thanks to Yoon. Yeah, so he can do it.
So do you want me to just like do a medley of Ghibli?
He likes that song from Howl's Moving Castle, and
Oh, okay.
we wrap it up with
Yeah. Oh.
a medley later on. So
Yeah. I'll do the House Moving Castle. That's one of my favorite music too. So I'm glad that you like the Ghibli of the House Moving Castle. So yeah, why not? And since this is a live space, let's finish off with the live performances. And thank you, Lloyd, once again for this wonderful feature that I didn't know about. I've now changed it. So since I've actually unplugged the equipment, now it's working. So let's
it's wide on iPhone, wide range, I think.
yeah. So let's see what it sounds like actually without, and then I can get some feedback. So.
It sounds the best. It sounds the best.
Amazing.
Lovely. All right, let's go. Thank you.
I think with this one, I'll give Lloyd to close the space, seeing that he requested the song. Lloyd and Bench, you can give us the closure of the space.
Wow, wow. This has been the best one we've hosted. We've never had live performance on a space, guys. This has been the best. Compared to what we've been hosting, because we play the music live, this one is different. It's totally different. So thanks, Yoon. Thanks, the Piano Avengers. Dango!